Hey everybody, and welcome back to the season finale of Maneaters. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm here with my lovely, lovely co-host and special guest, Liz Fletcher. How you doing, Liz?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Jonathan.
Yeah, I'm excited. So you just watched this movie for the first time, so it's fresh in your brain.
Yeah.
And I watched it a couple weeks ago, I think, or something. And so it's fresh in my brain, but I skimmed through some of it to remember, certain things. And I think I'll a lot more will kind of pop up as we chat. But first of all, what was your first thought of this movie, about this movie?
Well, I was a little thrown off because I know your love for subtitles, Jonathan, but this movie was on YouTube
No, it
and
was
the
yeah.
subtitles were in Arabic.
Yeah.
So it threw me for a loop a little bit, but then I just eventually turned it all out. But I'm thinking maybe I did get a little bit of an Arabic lesson today thrown in with Rise of the Gargoyles. So,
A little Arabic English lesson, you know.
yes. Um,
You learned how to write in Arabic if you paused it and heard what they said and then just wrote it out, I guess.
yeah, it was interesting. Like overall the quality was not very good.
Mm.
Um, I don't know when this movie was made. Was this
This was, I believe,
it had to be in the last 10, 15 years.
I think it was 2007, I want to say, but
Okay.
I could be wrong and it could be past that. 2009. Um, so I knew it was close. So 2009, because the Maneater series was made around 2005 or six to like later, right? Like they
Hmm.
they they started. It's been on for since like 2013, I think, or whatever. So maybe even further, but they should bring it back in some way, do some more. But um, the problem with these man-eaters movies is they're run out of ideas, so it almost feels like they just slapped the man-eater's name on the movie, but it wasn't a part of it or something because
Yeah.
like these aren't man-eaters. When you think of man-eaters, you think of like lions and tigers and bears and whatever. Oh my.
Well, I mean, there were some corpses in the crypt when
That's
they
true.
went down to look for the gargoyles.
I guess they do eat the
The
people.
one woman was walking on stuff and didn't realize that it was corpses at first. How do you not realize you're walking on a corpse?
I
I mean,
don't know. Maybe for movie. That's right. For movie, you don't.
so I
Uh,
mean, technically they are man eaters, I think. They're drawn to human flesh.
Technically, I guess. So, so the beginning of the movie has it where the main guy, Eric Balfour, who I love, by the way.
Yes, he was very good.
Yeah, well, I love him in everything I've seen. Like, I think the first thing I ever saw him in was like Dawson's Creek, and stuff. Like he did an
I
episode
never
of
watched
that.
that.
You never watched Dawson's Creek?
No.
No. Well, I got into it because of A, it was Kevin Williamson, the guy who made Scream, and B, it was
Katie
it
Holmes.
well, Katie Holmes, yeah, that didn't hurt, that didn't hurt the whole thing. That kind of kept me going. But there's also what is it? It was a show about a filmmaker, like a wannabe filmmaker. So I sort of connected a lot with Dawson growing up. And so yeah, Eric Balfour, he was also in Buffy. He was in tons of TV back in the day. And then he sort of was in a bunch of movies too, but a lot of whenever he was the lead, it was sort of in like the sci-fi original kind of movies and stuff like that. He was never like the lead of like the bigger movies. And that's sad because I think he's a really damn good actor and he
Yeah,
should be
he
like
was
the
very
lead
good.
star, you know. Um but he was also I think he was in The Offer, the new show on Paramount Plus. Yep, he was in The Offer. Which they had a lot of my favorite actors in that. A lot of people from my past that like Giovanna Ribisi and Miles Teller and
Oh yeah.
yeah, a lot of people I always and Miles Teller is one of my favorite actors. So if you have not seen The Offer on Paramount Plus, it's the story of the Godfather, you know,
Mm.
and it's like a limited series or whatever about the making of the Godfather and stuff, which was very interesting. But some was real, some was, made for TV, which happens. So yeah, we got Eric Balfour, and then he had his girlfriend, I guess, who was also like a professor or something. She also
Was
taught.
it the short blonde hair girl?
Yeah.
I was confused. I wasn't sure what their relationship was.
So I thought that like, because I think he broke up with his girlfriend or wife or
He was
something.
going through a divorce.
Right, a divorce. And then he sort of started kind of chatting this girl up or whatever, but she was like somebody who I think he knew from the school or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I mean, it almost seemed like a platonic kind of
I
relationship
don't
to me.
know. I thought I kind of got a little bit of a romantic vibe from it, a little bit.
Maybe, but maybe they started as colleagues or something.
Right. And they were like there to try to find the gargoyle stuff or whatever. They
Hmm.
were trying to find uh the stuff they snuck into the place with the corpses and stuff was, I believe,
The
or whatever.
crypt.
The
Yeah.
crypt. And then they let the gargoyles loose, which is a typical thing in like sci-fi movies and those kind of things, where the people are stumbling across something and then they accidentally open it up and
Hmm.
turns out to be like the evil that, they have to face now.
Right.
But what they end up doing, which surprised me, was that girl ends up, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen Rise of the Gargoyles, go watch it on Tubi. No, not Tubi.
She
Go watch
gets
it on
her
YouTube.
head knocked off.
Yeah, she gets her head knocked off, you know? And that was like not what I was thinking because I thought those were going to be the two leads of the movie, and everything.
Not gonna lie, I that was like one of the highlights of the film.
I had a feeling you're going to say it when she started talking
Yes.
about that. It's
Oh,
like,
she just it just made me mad. And I know with horror films, it's very cliche that people trying to escape always make the wrong decisions, but like this woman, if she would have spent half as much time trying to figure out how to escape this thing as she did screaming her head off and sobbing and falling all over the place, she would not have gotten her head knocked off.
right.
So when this gargoyle just shows up,
It wasn't like it just did it surprisingly, you know? It wasn't like it just appeared and it was like, pop, right? It
yeah, well,
literally,
yeah, I mean, I was definitely surprised, but was also a highlight for him.
you were like, yes, she's dead, you know? And then,
Ah,
so then later we get the love interest, which was the girl, the reporter, you
she was
know?
hot.
Yeah, she was pretty hot. And she and was it Eric Balfour? I mean, they had pretty good chemistry, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie. I liked them both. But by the end of the movie, it's not said like that they're gonna be dating or anything. It's just sort of like they went through this traumatic experience and made it out alive. So maybe they'll date or something, or maybe they'll move on with their life. I don't know. We don't really, it's not like anything happened after, like much. Um,
right.
but anyway, we met her beforehand though, at the restaurant or whatever, like I think it was a restaurant like outside.
Hmm.
And where were they at? Were they in Italy? I want to say
Paris.
Paris, France. Okay. The the cop guy.
Oh,
I
I
loved him.
loved the detective.
He was my favorite character, but like I was like going, is that French police really are, or is this just like just movie French police? I wonder,
It's
because
hard to say. It's probably just movie French police.
well, he's like, you're an American. I hate you. I'm going to arrest you no matter what. Because
I
I
mean,
think,
The French do hate us, is what I've heard.
and he was like, I'm gonna arrest you because you're American, like pretty much. Like you must have done it because you're the only one who's new in town or whatever. Like,
Well, and yeah, like he was, of course, he's going to be a suspect.
it didn't help that he kept talking about the gargoyles to the guy. The
Yeah.
guy's like, I don't believe you. Like,
You can't you can't go into a police station and talk that kind of shit and
yeah, and expect people to actually buy it.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so like, the murder, and then of course he's the suspect because the la like the first time they see a murder happen, he was there. And then
Hmm.
his girlfriend, or not girlfriend, but his friend, colleague, or whatever, got murdered by the gargoyle. So there's two people murdered that involved him in some way.
That he's
So
had association with. Yeah.
so either these people are just very unlucky or he's murdering them. Like he's very unlucky to be around that thing, or and the answer is he's unlucky, because the gargoyles are free and can kill people. What did you think of the gargoyles?
I mean, they didn't exactly terrify me.
So if you saw that flying at you, would you laugh?
Well, I'm not.
Would you be like, and
If I
attacking them like,
went
oh my
outside
God,
right
that looks
now,
so fake?
if I went outside right now to check my mailbox, I would be. I'd probably shit my pants if something like that just came flying at me. Of course. But like movie wise, it was just cheesy.
I'm just gonna imagine you at the mailbox, this thing flying at you, and you'd be like,
Ugh.
what is that thing? It looks
But
so
I'll tell you
fake.
what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't be crying and sobbing and screaming and falling all over the place. Be
Yep,
getting the hell out of there. Go get my gun. Oh, but guns don't do anything for them.
it's true. Find that out.
So when we're done with this podcast, I'm gonna go on Amazon and buy a strobe light.
Is that what did it? That's what did it, right? Like you
Yeah,
have
that
to buy
was
a
the
strobe light
strobe light.
just in case the gargoyles do get released, I
Well,
guess.
because they can't come alive in the sunlight. It was something like that. So I do have one of those sad lamps for seasonal affective disorder.
Mm,
So I'll just keep
interesting.
that handy to keep away the gargoyles. I think that would do the same thing.
Okay, by the way, I'm gonna
Maybe.
read you this plot synopsis of this because this will give people if you haven't seen it, then why are you watching this? I don't know. But here's the plot synopsis. It says, in Paris, two workers find a hidden chamber while digging the underground of the Saint Jean Andre Church.
Oh yeah, because it's getting torn down.
Yep. They collect the valuable objects in the spot, but they are attacked by a creature. Meanwhile, the discredited professor, Jack Randall, who wrote a book about gargoyles, rejected by the experts. So, okay, so first of all, he writes a book about the gargoyles. Like he knows he's the big researcher on gargoyles, and yet he's the one who releases fucking gargoyles into the world, Like, I mean, for once, can somebody make a movie about somebody who has no idea what they're fucking facing, but they wrote a book about something else? Like,
Mhm.
I wrote a book about Hydra, but now I'm dealing with the Griffin? Like,
I wrote the book about leprechauns.
and now I have to deal with fairies. Something like that. Like, I would
Oh my
I would
god.
love that. Like, I would love where they have to figure out okay, I don't know anything about leprechauns,
Right.
but when you know all the things about gargoyles, that doesn't make it more, man, it doesn't make it as much fun, like figure it out, look it up online, whatever. But
Just still laughing about the strobe lights.
yeah, these, okay, so rejected by the experts, apparently. So is encouraged by his friend Carol Beckham, who's the friend. Okay, so,
Oh,
uh,
Carol. Yep.
yeah, to peek the place out. They sneak in the site during the night, and while Carol is collecting some artifacts, Jack is recording with his camera. Out of the blue, Jack sees a winged monster coming toward him, and he flees from the location with Carol, but breaks the camera. Okay. Um, thank you for letting us know that. They go to a bar and use stone, a huge stone falls over his car. This guy is just telling the story, like telling the whole
Yeah,
movie.
I remember
Um,
that part.
and Jack takes a cab in his boarding house, uh, and Carol is attacked and beheaded by the gargoyle at her apartment. On the next morning, Jack identifies Carol's body and becomes the prime suspect of Inspector Gilbert. Um, of several murders. Jack decides to seek out the reporter of a sensationalist newspaper, Nicole Ricard, and gives his tape to her cameraman, Walsh. When Walsh recovers the badly shaped footage, he shows Nicole, and they realize that Jack is not crazy, and he had seen a gargoyle indeed in the underground of the church. They decide to return to the church to investigate. Now, first of all, they didn't mention this, that she didn't believe him before, right? Oh, yeah, whatever. Oh, if this works, let me know if, so she leaves and then she gets attacked by the gargoyle, right? Like the gargoyle comes after her. So that's when she believes. I hope. That's when
Right.
she would believe like, oh shit, there's actual real gargoyles attacking us in this thing. Yeah, the gargoyles look so fake and ridiculous. I don't, was it CGI? I'm guessing it was CGI. So it wasn't a person in a gargoyle suit,
Yeah,
was it?
it was CGI.
Well, see, that's the problem. Back then, their CGI and sci-fi was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I remember there was a movie called The Harpies that Josh Becker made, and it had the worst CGI ever. Like it was just terrible. Harpies just look. I think he said they look like winged hookers. Like that was literally what they made them look like, and that wasn't his fault. Like he had nothing to do with that stuff,
Yeah.
and everything. So, but yeah, this sci-fi used to have some really terrible CGI. You know. So anyway, yeah, that was the idea. We I think they forgot to mention there was a an old pastor of the church or something
Oh
like
gosh.
that
Yeah,
guy.
that was weird. Okay, so I'm curious about this. The priest or whatever,
Priest, yes.
he was not French.
No,
How do you become a priest at a French church without being
being
French?
French. I don't know. Maybe he was transferred there from because he was American, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Interesting. That's a good question. I have no idea. Maybe the writer would know, but or maybe they literally just couldn't find any French people to play that role well, or whatever. Or they maybe the guy tried an accent at one point and they're like, nope, let's just keep him as an American because because French, I can't do French. I just did my French and it was terrible. But
I'm not good at accents. I would need a dialect coach for sure.
yeah, and those are tough to like. I mean, you have to pay some serious money to get a good dialect coach that will teach you how to do that stuff. And so I don't know if sci-fi would pay for that, you know. Um, but anyway, yeah, I have no idea why American would be but apparently, I guess because it was closing down and everything, he was around there and he knew about the gargoyles, so he
Mm-hmm.
was there to help and everything. And he did at the end, he like exploded the whole thing or whatever, which I was very surprised. Like, I guess at one point he kind of turned on them, didn't he?
Yeah, it seemed like he had some ulterior motives, maybe.
What do you think they were?
I don't know. Maybe he was trying to use the gargoyles to keep people away from his church so they couldn't tear it down.
Right. But
I don't know.
then he had to get rid of the gargoyles because they were too dangerous, or whatever. I mean, I think it would have been cooler if the ending happened where you see the explosion, but like one of them snuck out. And we
Yeah,
saw one of them get out, and that's how they ended. Because the way they ended was really cheesy, where
lame.
they're all kind of talking to each other, and the camera guy, I think it was the camera guy, right? As the
Yes.
yeah, and the professor and the news reporter are all chatting with each other, and they're like, "Oh, we're all cool, but it sucks because no one's gonna believe us now." And then he pulls out the tape like he had the whole time, or whatever. And I was like,
Classic.
"Really? You did this just for this ending, you're not gonna tell them ahead of time, oh, I have the tape still, or whatever." So I thought it was a little cheesy. I mean, the whole movie was cheesy as fuck, you know.
Yeah, it was not very good quality either.
Mm.
Maybe it was maybe it was because it was a recording of a movie, like somebody taped it off of the TV or something.
In fucking Arabic in Arabia, you know. It's really this.
So the
Uh,
quality wasn't very good. It was so that's kind of
yeah,
distracting for
I
me.
have
Like,
the movie on DVD, but unfortunately, you live 9 hours away, so I can't really just
sorry.
go to your house and be like, "Hey, you want to watch this movie?" We got to get you out here sometime. Just record a bunch of movies and shit and reviews, but one day we'll do that. But yeah,
I
it was
think I think I'm supposed to actually somebody offered me a role for a film that is going to be shooting in Virginia next year sometime.
nice. We'll have to talk about that because if you're there, then maybe you can spend some extra time and come visit our freaking location and everything. We love that, you
You
know?
guys have dispensaries out there, right?
I think so.
That's off subject. Never mind. Moving on.
You're like, that's nothing to do with fucking Rise of the Gargoyles. Maybe if the Gargoyles went to dispensaries, maybe they'd be more chill.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
They definitely would.
Yeah. They would be cool, but gargoyles. They wouldn't be that gargoyle-y. You know? They wouldn't be flying at you while you're going to get your mail. They'd be uh
Oh,
coming.
that's it. I'm gonna start packing when I go outside at night.
Yeah, well, you got to bring the strobe light.
Well, yeah, that's true. Bring my sad light outside.
Wouldn't that be funny if that's how you could evade like actual people too? It's like they come to attack you, you just put the strobe light on, they're like, ah, you know, like a what is it? I guess that would hurt somebody who has seizures. So could you imagine if some like robber comes at you and then you just put the strobe light on them, they just have a seizure? Yeah, that would be terrible too, because then you'd be like, oh
Oh,
man, like they tried to rob me, but I just gave them a seizure. Yeah,
I
I
just
don't.
the strobe light thing is just it's too funny.
It is like, I mean, how do you figure that out? Like, how do you do research on fucking gargoyles to begin with? It's like it's supposedly not. I mean, they're not real creatures, so they're not. It's not like you can do. I mean, I guess in this universe of the Maneaters episode, like that was sort of like real, or whatever. Like they are
Right.
supposed to be real. So when he's doing his stuff, and I think that may be why he got laughed out of, and that's why the only person who trusts him and will believe him is the chick who does like the more goofy shit on the news. Like
Hmm.
she's not
Aliens and stuff.
aliens and she believes all this shit really exists. Where I bet he would think that aliens don't exist, but gargoyles do, right? Like, which I think, I mean, if you're going to believe that gargoyles are real, you're gonna also believe that Sasquatch is real, or that,
I
aliens
thought
are
he
real.
was real.
If he is, he's hiding, man, somewhere. He's the hiding king, you know, because nobody's really seen him, you know, unless your dog has, and he won't tell us, you know. Well, because he can't speak English, as far as I know. He understands what you're saying, I'm sure, if you say his name, but he's, he's trying to get your attention right now. He doesn't want you doing the show anymore.
It's Ruby.
Oh,
She's don't ever let your guard down though. She's a vicious killer.
she looks vicious. Maybe you can have her attack the gargoyles.
Well, she and Coco did get a cat a couple weeks ago, but I'm not gonna go into too many details because I think I found who it was on Facebook.
Ouch. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna say anything to them. It was awful.
That's terrible. I hope they don't watch this podcast.
I That's why I'm not gonna go into details.
But dogs being dogs, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Where so to go back to this. So what's funny is the stuff behind me, the artwork and everything's always so much better than the movie.
It's fabulous. I was thinking that.
Yeah, I
It
mean, look
was
at that,
like
looks cool.
it's like the movie Death Ring. Like that was a killer poster.
Hmm.
And the movie sucked so bad.
Yep, we did that for 31 Days of Indie Horror, and that was so terrible of a movie, but I had a great poster. That's that's the thing. Like, so many people make these great posters, and then you watch the movie, you're like, "Ugh, the poster
Well, and
was
the thing is, like, I mean, who cares as long as you get people to watch your movie?
right." Like, I mean, that's the point of the poster and the trailers and all that other marketing stuff, is to get people to watch the movie. But the movie, if the movie sucks, nobody cares about it, right? Like,
Yeah,
nobody's gonna
that's
wanna.
true.
They're gonna like, and most people say, because people say they don't do this, but people look at reviews. People look at Rotten
Yeah,
Tomato scores, they look at Letterboxd, they look at IMDb, to see the reviews, because in their mind they want to know, is this something I'm actually going to want to spend 90 minutes on, And that's why I like doing these podcasts and video casts and stuff, because I like to shine the light on stuff, but also let them know, like, I mean, this isn't a terrible movie. But this is not something I want to seek out again. You know,
yeah,
like I told you, I watched it a couple weeks ago. I didn't really want to watch it again, because it just didn't draw me in the first time, like, enough where I can remember things from it. But honestly, it was sort of a more unmemorable Maneaters. Now, maybe I would have liked it better the second time. I don't know, because I did just do with Mark D. Valenti, who I think you were on a show with before, I think, or something. Maybe not. But he and I did, was it Hybrid? And when we did Hybrid, I hated it the first time I watched it. I thought it was, oh, terrible. Second time I watched it, I was like, I had a little bit more respect for it. Sometimes movies do sort of grow on you the second time.
yeah,
So maybe this movie would have grown on me a little bit more, but probably not, because it is still like, and once again, I love Eric Balfour. Like, I want to work with him one day. Like, I'm like that, I have a list of people that I grew up watching that I'm like, I would love to get a chance to work with.
oh my gosh, I have a list too.
Do you?
I don't usually tell people, but I have a list of all the people I want to work with someday.
Yeah, and that's awesome, because I better be on that fucking list, by the way. You know.
Of course, you're at the top.
Nice. Nice save there.
Mm.
You know. No, what is it? But yeah, yeah, I've got this like, list of like 90s people that I grew up watching, that I go, and I've been buying movies of these guys because I haven't seen. Like I bought a movie called Fast Sofa, and it stars like Jake Busey and Crispin Glover and Jennifer Tilly. It's just crazy. It is not what I was thinking, and by the title, it has nothing to do with the title at all. Like, but it was it was a early 2000s movie, and it was great, just very, but this movie, Rise of the Gargoyles, even though it's later 2000s and could have been so much better. I mean, they had money, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, and I think if they did not shoot in Paris, they shot in Canada for
Mm-hmm.
Paris. Like
Right.
maybe they shot a couple of scenes in Paris, but like the rest was like Canada or something because the beauty of Canada is they're French, French
Yeah.
Canadian and stuff. So I think a lot of times they shoot that like I think they did the Yeti movie. They didn't film it in the Himalayas, or whatever, even though it's supposed to be it. They filmed it in freaking Canada because it's snowy,
Right.
It makes sense. So I think that's what they probably did. That would be my guess, but I could be wrong because I didn't look that up or whatever. But anyway, um, I don't know. This movie was just not the greatest and kind of honestly kind of bored me at times, you know? Especially during the middle of the movie where like not a lot was actually happening
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. It was sort of like, all right, come on, can we get to the gargoyles? Like, and you don't really see the gargoyles that much. Most of it's
Right.
nighttime stuff or whatever. And then when you do, you're like, I can see why you don't get to see them much because they don't look great. So, but I don't know, the people who made it, like I want to say, let's see, Bill Corcoran directed the film, and what did he do? He did a movie called Dancing in the Dark. I've heard of that movie, I think. I feel like I have. Or maybe it was Dancer in the Dark or something. So yeah. No, I haven't heard of this movie. Um, Wise guy. He did the Black Stallion. He was the location management in Canada. It is Canadian. I
Ah.
think it is Canadian. There you go. So, ha. I guess because a lot of sci-fi stuff is from Canada. Um,
They do
the,
a lot of filming in Canada.
do you know it was written by two guys? Like two people wrote this. It feels like a one-person job. You know, I, maybe that's
I
the problem, though.
I didn't think that the characters were very well developed. And for me, like even if it's an independent or low budget, I I have to be able to care about the characters. Otherwise, I mean, it's just kind of pointless to watch in my opinion.
Yeah. Huh. So the other guy, the two guys who wrote it, one of the guys, this and one other movie is the only other thing. 'Cause he's only written two movies. This in 2009, and then another movie in 2018 called Redcon 1 that he co-wrote with two other people. And that
Hmm.
was like a um soldiers dealing with a virus in a quarantine zone. So this was 2018, right before
Wow.
2020. So weird, like that a lot of movies had actually kind of gone that route. And I think it's because there were a lot of outbreak things, and a lot of like
Hmm.
SARS, and you knew a lot about this stuff before like 2020 hit, right? Like you as a you, I mean, I don't know if you want me to
We
say, but
were
you are,
we were due for a pandemic, honestly.
yeah,
Because they tend to happen about every 100 years or so.
yeah. So we had it, and and like 1920s, then 19 or 2020, all right, and so it kind of makes sense, and so but this time the beauty of the way the world is now is that we actually have ways, we have the internet and we have ways to communicate with each other much more, and we're able to get vaccines and other
Hmm.
things to help, you know, to help each other, to help us out, more so than back in the 20s, the
Right.
1920s or 1820s or 17, like 1720s, you're fucked, you know. Sorry, like if you got the bubonic plague, you didn't have just a cough and, you couldn't go to work that
Yeah.
day, like it was way worse than that, Um, but nowadays, whatever. So to go back to Rise of the Gargoyles, the idea like having somebody who hasn't written that many movies paired up with a guy who only wrote, I mean, also didn't really write that many movies too. Um, I mean, looks like he's written, he wrote like 13 things. And Dark Relic. Oh, he wrote a lot for sci-fi, so that kind of makes sense. He wrote like a movie called Ghost Town. I think that was for sci-fi. Um, and then was the other one? Uh, Dark Relic. The Philadelphia Experiment. Which I feel like I've heard of somewhere or another, but might just sound like another movie. And The King of Shadows is one of his newer movies. That kind of sounds cool. So I don't know. Who knows? This stuff like probably. I mean, honestly, the most writers get better as they start writing more
Hmm.
and more and more. Unless they just don't learn from whatever, and they keep doing basically the same style. Some people are like that. Some people will just
Yeah.
make the same crap over and over again and not care because it gets sold. People buy it. So why would they care about that? You know? Anyway, sci-fi does make the Maneaters, they had, I want to say 26 Maneaters. I think that's what we're doing this year. So, or whatever, not this year, but this whole series is about
Hmm.
26 or something. It's a lot of movies, and stuff. But thankfully I think we're at, I want to say eight. I think this is episode 8 of um so I think we have 8 more after that to we have to get through, and so I mean, and I say get through because like some of these are pretty bad, and
Yep.
yeah, and I think I'll have you back on for another episode coming up like next year, and everything, but hopefully it'll be the best one you've watched. Because have you done the Maneaters before? You've done it before, I think.
I think I've done a Maneaters before.
I
Yeah.
think you've done like more than one. I know you were in, well, you done at least one.
Well,
So
there was Land Shark.
yeah, it's not Maneaters. It should have been Maneaters, but it wasn't. There was, let's see, I've got them on here on
Oh,
uh,
there was the spider one.
hmm. Oh, okay. So the first one you did, I believe, with me wasn't, we did the Wyvern together? That was, let me see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was like the killer kind of dragon kind of thing.
Yes.
See, that was the first one we did together on that in the Maneaters.
Gosh, that was a long, that feels like a long time ago.
It does, doesn't it?
That was a good one though.
That was a lot better than this one. I mean, I mean that's not really a hard thing to beat, but what was that? Did you do another one this year? So
Yeah, there was a spider one.
oh yeah, you did in the spider web. So yeah. So we had you for season 2 twice. There you go. I don't, we're gonna keep calling you back, because you keep coming. Like you're like, okay, sure, I'll do it.
I mean, it's fun.
I know.
I
Well,
enjoy
some
it.
of these are just cheesy and silly, and
But
some
they're
of them are just boring.
entertaining.
Some are boring. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah, this was kind of boring.
a little bit, but I mean, I think you like the spider one better. Um,
Yeah, Into the Spider Web. I did like that one.
Yeah, it's so funny because spiders are like scarier to me because they're real, and B, like they're everywhere. I just saw one earlier today, a little teeny tiny little thing. Not something I'm like scared of, but I'm just saying big
Hmm.
ass, one of those big ass ones fall down. Oh, hell, a small one falls on me. I'm like, ah, get it off me, A gargoyle attacks me. Yeah, I'm gonna probably freak the fuck out, you know. I mean, we have my friend and I were looking up at the sky today and we saw a bald eagle, you know, and
Oh,
it was flying around looking for something to eat.
prey.
And then there was a buzzard flying around waiting for it to eat whatever so that it could basically grab the scraps. And I
Vultures
was
are actually really smart animals.
Yeah. But I was just like, we're watching that going, that's awesome. Like, because that's like nature at its work,
Hmm.
And it was so cool because you could see it circling the woods that it was at. And I guess it didn't find anything, and then it went, and there was a movie we already did for Maneaters this season too, called Roadkill. And it was about like a bird of prey kind of
Ooh,
thing.
that sounds cool.
It was actually really good. That one was I like that one a lot. Um, and then this one was not nearly as fun, like of that kind of stuff because like they had done stuff like that where you saw the gargoyles really like flying around looking for things to kill and then going around and scooping people up and or whatever. That would have been
Yeah,
a little bit more fun. I feel like the gargoyles were stupid little things that just kind of crashed into stuff and tried, you know what I mean? Like, or grab things and just throw them down,
right.
And I was just like, it was a big rock, or whatever and stuff. It just was sort of boring, as opposed to what, a lot of these other things. Other thing I want to mention is that there was a movie that Paul and I did, which it was like it had the Spike from Buffy. I don't know if you watch
Hmm.
that, but Spike from Buffy, and it was set sort of in the West, you know, and it was like these like sand spider or sand like tremors type things that
Oh
come
my
out and
God.
everything. And he was like, "Wait, this was man-eaters? Nope, they never ate any men." Like, like, and at least this one, well, they took somebody's head off. They didn't eat it or anything. Been more fun if they ate stuff, right?
Yeah, if it at least showed them eating something. Because I'm pretty sure they did eat flesh
Yeah.
because
Well, they
of the
had to
corpses and strip, but
after they
it
killed whatever.
never it never actually showed it happening.
It's true. Would have been nice. Like, listen to us talking about like, yeah,
We're not right, are we?
they should have killed more things and ate it. No.
More blood, more guts.
More blood, more guts. I mean, it's sci-fi. They can only get away with so much.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet they have like codes and different things that they're like, oh, you can't show them eating the thing or something because, that would, I don't know, gross out the moms that are watching watching this that like if anybody's gonna be watching this, they should know what they're in for, you know.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any hesitation. There's also cable, sci-fi, so it's cable. However, the DVD should have more, you know, um, I don't know, uncensored shit, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion. But all right, well, I think
And some uncensored subtitles.
no subtitles. How about that? No subtitles, especially not Arabic ones that we
You
can't
either
read.
get Arabic subtitles or you get the cleaned up version of the subtitles.
Yes, the censored version of the subtitles where everything is, you know, uh, what the heck? And the person actually
Oh,
said, "What the
geez.
hell?" You know, that's my favorite part. So what we're referring to is we're talking about the movie that I watched or we both watched on Tubi, but you didn't watch with the subtitles, Brain Scan, and it actually had subtitles that were censored, but they just said like a different word for everything. So G's was instead of Jesus or whatever. And then what is it? In this one, in the movie, like I swear to God, it's so funny because I never laughed so hard seeing somebody actually say like the word fuck, you know, but then it would say darn or something, and I'm
Oh,
like,
frick.
or prick or whatever. And I just laughed my ass off because I was like, he actually said the word. So it's not censored. The movie's not censored, right? Because usually what happens is they'll censor the movie too. So the person will say, "Oh darn," and then the thing will say, "Oh darn." No, on this one, they were like, you know what the deaf, you know, they don't want to read curse words on here, So let's get them so they
It
don't
was
get.
a subtitle typer with a conscience.
I know. They were like, wait a minute, Johnny. Didn't say this on here. It's like, you know what? I'm not gonna allow everybody on Tubi that's watching Brain Scan to see the F word be used and you know the J word be used and all that stuff. So it was insane. But yeah, let's keep the Arabic subtitles as an extra feature, you know. Or they'd have the Canadian subtitles where instead of about it's a boot and everything says a,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's not actually said in the thing. All right, I'm done. Like with that. So thank you so much, Liz, for coming on
Thank you, Jonathan.
and watching. Poor girl had to watch two movies. One was pretty good, and then one was not as great. But I mean, I think you were entertained, weren't you?
Yeah, it was entertaining.
You didn't turn it off or get bored
Oh
or
no. I mean, I was about to, but then that lady who was really annoying got her head knocked off. So I kept
save the
watching.
day, man. Save the movie.
Carol
So
saved the day.
I know, with their head being knocked off, you know. Not many people can say that, like, you can't be like, man, I was really bored at work today. Then that person got her head knocked off, and I, I didn't like them, so I was happy that Carol got her head knocked off.
I mean, she was on the freaking roof. What are you doing on the roof in the first place? And then she's just falling all over the place.
I know. She was running, she was screaming, she was freaking
Carol,
out.
Carol, Carol.
I don't know. Maybe you should like find out how to like cut a clip out of that so you can watch that the head getting knocked
Turn
off
it
into
into a GIF.
like a loop though, like
Mhm.
constantly, so you can just see the head get knocked off, head get knocked off, head get. That might make your day. Like if you're in a bad
It would
mood,
make my day. If anybody's listening who's really good at editing and making gifts and stuff, if you make me a gif of that woman getting her head knocked off, I will love you forever.
that's a gift right there.
That's the gift of a gift.
Yeah. I was told at one point it's like GIF, you know, and I've always called it GIF.
No, I've
I
always
don't,
called it Jif. That's peanut butter.
it is. I think it's canceled peanut butter too, because if I'm correct, that was the one peanut butter that got recalled, you know. Or I might be wrong. I don't
That's
know.
why I always buy the store brand of stuff.
You're like, Walmart brand is not going to be recalled ever. Maybe. Hopefully not.
I have an iron stomach, so it doesn't matter.
All right. Well, on that note, if you guys have seen Rise of the Gargoyles, please let us know what your thoughts are if you're just silly and saying our review of this. I mean, did you enjoy Carol getting her head knocked off? If you're the actress who played Carol, did you enjoy getting your head knocked off? You know, um, that was a that. See, as an actor, that's a fun scene.
Oh
Because
yeah.
most actors like to watch something, watch themselves be in a movie that um where something happens to them that they're not going to be able to see in real life. That's why people like to die on screen because they're never going to be able to actually see their real life death, or whatever, you know, um
My
through the
favorite was getting strangled with intestines in the movie Gore, which is on YouTube and almost has 200,000 views at this point.
nice.
Almost.
Nice. Well, you can become that way if you guys watch Gore on YouTube right now. It can become 200,000. Maybe. One person watching this is like, and then
I
that's gotten this far in
can
our
get there.
show has has gone, okay, I might watch Gore, just because Liz says so, you know. They'll
And
do it for you.
you only have to watch the first 10 minutes.
Oh, for it to
That,
count, right?
no, that's the I'm just in the first 10
Oh,
minutes.
okay. Okay, just watch the first 10 minutes
But
because then after that,
it's the best 10 minutes of the movie.
right, because you're in it.
Oh gosh, I hope the directors are.
Already you have neighbors and directors. I mean, anybody else you want to?
Let's see, who else can I offend tonight? uh,
I think we've offended Canada,
France,
France. Uh,
Gargoyles.
oh yeah, well they had it coming, you know. Those are little ugly little guys who are afraid of strobe lights. Come on now, you know. But I'm not, your dog's not even afraid of them, They're nothing.
One, I mean, one of them is. One of them has left the vicinity. Now it's just Ruby and I. Coco,
Ruby
I
is,
don't know where
yeah,
he went.
yeah. Ruby's like, I'm not scared. There you go.
She's not scared of anything, are you, Ruby?
I like how she just like was like,
Oh, that's a good stretch.
yeah. She's like, "Are you videotaping me now? Come on, mom. You know, that's not right." Well, once again, thank you guys so much for checking this episode out. This is episode 8. So this is episode 8 of season 2, and we really appreciate that because this honestly this series has been sort of a hard thing because I've had to actually find the movies and I had to find that one online, or whatever to give to you. And then they're tougher because some of them aren't on Tubi, some of them are, so have to just try to figure it out, you know, which one will come on. So, anywho, so I guess that's about it, right? That about wraps it up. Would you
It
agree?
was interesting.
So, would you watch it again?
Nope. Well, like I said, I will watch one part in particular again if somebody will make a GIF about it.
That's it. I just love your reaction when I said, "Would you watch it again?" You're like, "Nope, nope." Like, and it didn't take you like you weren't thinking about it. You're like, yeah. I would not watch
Well,
this
that's
again.
because I know you have so many more wonderful horror films for me to watch.
So you wouldn't
I
want to
don't
watch the
have
same thing over and
I
over.
don't
You
have
want to,
time to watch the same one more than once.
no, we've got more already this coming up that you know,
Bring it
uh,
on.
I know, for Patreon only, you're coming in, you're gonna watch Troll 2 with us. So we can't wait for that.
Not the Trolls World Tour movie.
No, that's completely different movie. And you've never seen Troll 2, so I am,
I haven't seen Trolls 1.
well, you don't need to. They're not connected at all. In fact, I'll tell you about it later. Like I'll explain it to you, but not gonna explain it to you on Rise of the Gargoyles.
I'm
Because
telling you,
yeah,
these gargoyles have gotten shafted, man. We're talking about everything but the
that's
gargoyles.
what I do in all my podcasts. We've talked about this. This is not new.
I'm not
If
complaining.
Paul was here, it'd be even worse. You know, Paul be talking about cows the whole time,
Mhm.
or whatever, and be more interesting than gargoyles. Rise of the Cows. Now that's a movie I want to see because I'd be scared of cows like flying on me,
Let's
flying
make it
cows,
happen.
like fly. Dude, don't tell Paul because he would do it in a second, like a heartbeat. He'd make flying cow horror film in a second if he could. You know. Anywho, thank you guys for checking this out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back next season, which won't be till I think March. But I'll be recording earlier than that because I want to get as much done as I can for it. But it'll be out in March and it'll be the last season because I only have like 10 more to do. And or eight, 10 or 8 or 10 or more to do. So whatever it ends up being, but good God, um, it'll it'll be over, and then I can say I did the whole Maneater series, you know. But until then, everybody, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Bye.
Bye, guys.